So I passed my practical driving test in the UK at first attempt. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing tips that helped me and the mistakes that I made at first. But thankfully enough, I was able to correct my mistakes few days before my practical test. So if this is a topic that tickles your fancy, why not like this video, share this video out. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please just smash that subscribe button that you can see down below. Again, my name is Miss Bimbo. I'm a Nigerian trained pharmacist and a UK care assistant, and I share migration tips as well as tips that will help migrants in the UK to navigate their lives, to make their journey easy. The first mistake I would consider myself making was thinking that having an instructor is all that is required to pass your practical test. No, I must tell you that my husband contributed largely to the success of my driving test because there were some topics that my instructor failed to cover. Maybe because he didn't think I was going to be asked, or maybe it was just an oversight. Never heard about emergency stop until my husband mentioned it. So I had to inform my instructor that how about an emergency stop? I started, and that was when he actually tested me on emergency stop. Guess what? On the examination day, I was asked to perform an emergency stop. Now imagine if my husband never mentioned it. I probably would have failed. This leads me to the first tip, which is that you should make your own personal research and not rely solely on your instructor. So at some point, I was just taking these lessons, driving lessons. I wasn't complementing the lessons with, watching YouTube videos, watching TikTok videos on practical driving tests. I thought just paying my instructor, he would teach me everything. But unfortunately, your instructors cannot teach you everything. Something might come up during the examination that never actually happened during all your practical lessons. On my examination day, there was a little bit of traffic and the last car was, just behind the keep clear, and I was just after that vehicle. So I knew that I was not supposed to stay in the keep clear space. So I stayed just behind the keep clear. Imagine if I had not made my own research. My instructor never told me all of this. So there are several things you need to learn apart from what your instructors are going to teach you. And that's why it is essential that you watch TikTok videos, watch YouTube videos, check out what people did that made them fail, and check out what people have done that made them pass. The second mistake is that, I had driven in Nigeria for over 6 years, and for the last 2 years, I haven't been driving, and I felt really rusty. I never knew that practical driving would test your confidence. Like, I literally was very afraid. Not because I didn't know how to handle the car, but because of so many signs, the narrow roads. There was a time that I almost hit a pedestrian. So you need to get familiar with your examination route. That is the second tip. So don't be like me. When you take your lessons on your examination route, it helps build your confidence. It helps familiarize you with what your exam condition is likely to be. So if you have an instructor that is not taking you through the test route, just know that you're in the wrong space. You need to find someone else. All right. So I had one instructor that was just taking me to, all these other places and was teaching me, the basics. After I told her I already knew how to drive and all of that, she was just taking me around a mini roundabout and, a parking lot for good 2 hours. At that point, I knew that this person was going to waste my time and my money. So I had to just opt out. So don't let any instructor waste your time. Know what you want and go for it. So in case you don't have any driving experience yet, I would say you should get an experience. And when I mean an experience, it means like staying next to somebody that is driving, familiarizing yourself with the road signs. You must have passed your theory test before you intend to do your practical, right? But it's not enough for you to just cram everything that you have done in your theory. You need to be able to, understand all those road signs. Go to roundabouts in your area, just stand still and watch how the cars are moving. I will watch these YouTube videos to help you understand how the cars are able to, beat all the traffic and move smoothly. that is going to really help you. If you don't have any driving experience, or if you have somebody who drives, stay in front in the passenger seat and let the person explain everything how they are driving, because that really helped me. Mean that my husband has already started driving and I used to be in front and he used to explain things to me, all the left roundabout, the right side. When navigating roundabout, they were not new and they are not actually difficult. Once you have the experience, you understand them, they are very easy actually. Just know what the examiners want, because this practical driving test is just like you're writing IELTS. You need to give them the mark scheme. It is after you have passed the practical test that you actually start learning to drive on UK roads, because you go to different places and you find out that there are different things. Maybe the roundabouts are more complicated than the one you had on your test route. Actually, it is after you've passed your driving test that you now start learning to drive on the roads. The next thing that really helped me is because I had a specific goal for wanting to have a full UK driving license. You should be able to attach this success or this your exam to something tangible, something essential in your life. Maybe you're trying to get a job with certificate of sponsorship, and you know that having a full UK license as well as a car of your own is going to improve your chances. Then you have to be determined, like that is going to really help you in preparing. You will know that you have a specific goal and start thinking about your goal. If you are an agency staff now and you need a car to help you get more shifts and work more shifts, let that be your motivation. Let that be your drive. So, like I said about road markings, you really need to master your junctions and your roundabouts. For junctions, even though I had the experience and I'd been following my husband, I also learned certain things from my instructor. Like when you have double broken lines at a junction, it means give way on both left and right. So you should be able to understand all these things. When you get to a junction with a double broken line, you need to look both left and right before you move. Don't just look one way. When you get to a junction that has a thick single line that says stop, you actually must stop. Even if there are no cars coming, you still need to stop. And you need to observe the junction. So your observations are very crucial if you want to pass your practical driving test. You need to check your mirrors, know when you're expected to check your mirrors, and know how to check your mirrors. It is not enough for you to just look at the mirrors like this. The examiner wants to see your head move. They want you to make it glaring that you're looking at the mirrors at your junctions, at your roundabouts. Maybe you're going to the second roundabout and having passed the first roundabout, you now trafficate left. Before trafficating left, you must check your left side mirror. So all those little things, you will get them on TikTok videos, on YouTube videos. So I cannot overemphasize that. Watch videos of people who have failed and why they failed. Watch videos of people who have passed and why they passed. Another thing is that you need a mock test. I booked a mock test with my instructor 1 hour just before my exam. I went through the exam routes at 11. I finished by 12, and by 12:05, I went for my exam. Going through the same routes. So it made it quite easy for me to pass. Another thing you need to consider is that you must be strategic about booking your driving test. I booked my driving test 8 months before I actually did the test. So I had to reschedule more than 10 times. And that was because I didn't consider the weather condition of that time. So I booked my test during winter. And visibility is not clear during winter. It's foggy, it's cloudy, So I had to keep pushing it till when the weather is better. This spring, everywhere is bright and beautiful. So if you know that you're not very good yet, I think it's better you wait for spring or you wait for summer before you do your driving test. Another thing that helped me is that I was quite familiar with the card I used for my driving test, because I bought a car for my practice, for my driving lessons, and it was that same car I used for my exam. So I was already familiar with the car. The show me, tell me questions, I already practiced them with my car. So it was very easy for me. It was like a walk in the park on the day of the exam. So if possible, get a car of your own for your driving lessons. Once you have your provisional license, get a car. Let your instructor use your own car. If you have somebody who's been driving, who has be licensed for 3 years in the UK, you can as well tell that person to stay next to you while you have your own personal lessons outside of your driving school. Now, one of the major challenges that we Africans now in the UK have is that in our country, we drive on the left side, the wheel is on the left side, but here in the UK, the steering wheel is on the right, and sometimes someone might get confused what lane of the road am I to position the car. So this is a cheat code that helped me. So your own side, the driver's side, must be at the middle of the road, except you're on a one way and you're turning right. That's when you might, you might be on the right side, like at the side of the road. But once it is not a one way, you, who is the driver, must be in the middle of the road. Meanwhile, the cars on the other lane, the driver will also be in the middle of the road. So both of you can actually be seeing each other. Like, the drivers must be in the middle of the road. It's as easy as that. Another thing that can easily make you fail is speed limit. Like, you must understand the speed limit for learners in the country where you are taking your exam. For instance, in England, the speed limit is like 60 miles per hour on the highway. When I got to Northern Ireland and I had my first lesson, I was driving at 60 miles per hour, and my instructor told me, for learners here, it is maximum of 45 miles per hour. If you drive this on the exam day, it is automatic failure. So you must actually understand what is the speed limit, maximum speed limit for a learner in the country that you're taking your exam. Also, you must actually be very observant to see when the speed limit changes. Do not go above the speed limit, and don't make the mistake of, if they say the speed limit is 40 miles per hour on this particular part of the road, you don't necessarily have to be at the top speed of 40 miles. It could be 34, 36, 37. It is still okay. That's one mistake that you might be tempted to make, that everything must be at 40 miles per hour, even if the topography of the road is steepy or slopy, which might be dangerous. You know what I mean? So they want you, if they say it's maximum doesn't mean that you have to be on 40, on a 40 road. It could be on 37, it could be on 35. And when the road is slopy, of course, they will understand if you drive even below 40. If you drive 30 or 25, it's still understandable. Just make sure you are safe. Safety is at the core of the practical exam. You don't have to do everything perfectly. Your maneuvers don't have to be perfect. Your parallel parking doesn't have to be perfect. Your bay parking doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure that you're doing all your observations and make sure that the car is within the line. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight. Just make sure that safety is your watchword, and make sure that your car is within the lines, the white lines. Another thing is that I was really nervous and I was quite unsure. So make sure that you have actually dealt with your nerves. You have actually gained a lot of confidence before you take your test. If you're not confident enough, even if your instructor says you're ready, make sure you take your time. Make sure that you're actually ready. Like in my case, a week before I took the test, I just felt that ease. I just felt the confidence came back, and I felt like, is it not just to drive? I can do this. And the very week of the test, my nerves wanted to have the best part of me again, but I didn't allow it. On the day of exam, make sure you're early enough. Don't be nervous. Don't be in a rush. And make sure you're smiling. Keep a smiling face. I didn't eat any banana. Some people would advise that you take one banana and drink water. I didn't drink water. I didn't take banana. But I kept a smiling face because I just considered, okay, it's 50-50. It's either I pass or I fail. I'm going to do my best. So I pass. I've been practicing this. I got this. I can do this. I was just smiling at the instructor. We didn't have, chats, but I was smiling. That would actually help build your confidence. Later in this video, I'm going to recommend some YouTube channels as well as TikTok channels or pages that you can watch to help you prepare for your driving test. But the next point is that you have to decide what car you're going to be driving, whether a manual car or an automatic car. So you have to decide early, because in my case, I was tempted to learn manual. And my instructor told me that if you have been driving automatic for quite some time, it's pretty difficult for you to learn manual, because first you need to unlearn everything you have learned, and you have to reset your brain and learn new things, which will take longer time and more practice, and that means the cost implication is you're going to spend more. But if you can afford to buy an automatic car, being an experienced automatic driver, that would make it easier for you to pass. However, if you haven't, got any experience driving before, I would recommend, if you live in the UK, just go for a manual. It's easier for you to learn and, to do your manual test and pass at once. Basically, there is no one size fits all advice for you to pass. Just do what works for you. But I highly recommend that you don't just rely on what your instructor is teaching you, but you complement your lessons with watching YouTube videos as well as TikTok videos. And if you have watched this video to this point, I'd like to say a very big thank you to you for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.